Everybody, welcome back with the Plat. Today we're talking about my waifu for Laifu, Lash. This is one of my favorite gold units in the entire game, and it is predicated off of the trait here. So the trait is one of my favorite traits. After attacking, let's look at level 1, 3, and 5 really quick. 15 after attacking, additionally deals 15% magic attack as piercing damage. It goes up to 20% at 3, and then it goes up to 30% at 5. So 30% magic damage is piercing damage to a target after attacking them. Also, the secondary effect, after using support or healing skills, additionally heals the target for 20% magic attack. This kind of doesn't fucking matter literally at all. It's really all this first half. I actually kind of wish the second half I get a little bit of a rework to be something like increase her magic stat or something, like increase magic attack, magic defense or something, but whatever. This effect is improved to 30% damage when you attack. This is such a good ability. And we've actually got a little bit of spice here. So we're going to kind of go over the character's kit, how I recommend building the character. But also we're going to go over gear. And there's something a little spicy in the gear that you might notice. But we'll talk about it when we get there. So first, signature ability here is maybe her best ability in general. Whip of Blame. This ability is fucking sick, bro. So you attack for 60% damage, magic damage to all enemies in a 5-line tile. Huge range. Now it is obviously, there's no depth to it. It's just in a straight line, but you could hit multiple targets with this pretty easily. So you do 60% damage, then you attack a second time for 30% piercing damage. Now, the way this works with her trait is every time you deal damage, her trait triggers. So you do 60% damage, then because you did 60%, you trigger your trait and do 30% damage, assuming 5-star, which I'm going to because it makes the numbers sound better. Then you do 30% piercing damage, then you hit for 30% piercing damage, and then you hit for another 30% piercing damage. So what you're doing, 369, 150%, 90% of which is piercing damage. So piercing damage is better than you would expect, especially because it ignores all physical defense, all magic defense. So very first thing you're going to notice here, because so much of her kit is based on piercing damage, this is a character that does not really care about being paired with Abyss at all. You don't really care about debuffing the enemy. Most of your damage is essentially going to be true damage or piercing damage, where you're already ignoring 100% of the defense stats. So you're probably going to want this character more on a team about buffing your own team as opposed to debuffing the enemy team. Or if a team just doesn't want to do either of those, like you don't want to debuff or you don't want to buff, and she just deals damage pretty good, like this is this character. You're not going to want to focus on debuff the enemy. That's all I'm trying to say, because a lot of her damage is going to come from piercing damage, which already does that. So you're kind of wasting your time if you're trying to get magic defense down on an enemy. Because she don't give a shit about that. So let's go into her actual skill set here. Rank 1, 2 average abilities. I would not take Soul Soothing again if I had the opportunity. Heals target for 75% of magic attack. It does heal self. I got this because I just wanted to have at least one healing skill on her, but I do already have one, but I probably wouldn't take that one either. It's not very good, but it is free, has no cooldowns. You just got to do this if you need to. It heals another 20%, so it actually heals 95% of magic attack. It's decent, but I mean, I almost never use it, ever. The other hand, energy rate is a pretty good damage attack, right? 140%, and you get shield break, which can be good. And when you do 140% damage, and then you do 30% piercing after that again, so it's good. But as a 3-turn cooldown can only be used once. I don't think any of these skills are going to ever make it onto your hotbar in rank 1, but I think early on energy ray is going to be better. Soul Soothing has a very niche time you could use it. Magic defense boost, I don't really like this. I would rather bring Angel if I cared about this, who does this kind of passively against around everyone, and could just heal people to give them magic defense. It's whatever, but really I just like Dark Withering. Dark Withering is an ability on a couple characters. Maybe just the 2, maybe just Abyss and Lash, but it's better on Lash than it is on Abyss, because you inflict life loss equal to 50% of your magic attack on all enemies within a 2-tile radius for 2 turns. So they get less healing, and they take 50% of your magic damage. AoE oh, you know, twice. But when you initially cast the skill, you do trigger your trait. So even though this normally does 0 damage up front, it actually does 30% piercing and a big AoE up front, which makes it super strong. I don't believe I'd have to test it. I don't believe that the 50% triggers also trigger your passive, because I think that would be insane. It would be right. It would be 369 again. It would be like 140% damage instead of the normal 100%. No, it'd be more than that, because that'd be 100% plus 36. It'd be 190% damage. So I don't think it actually triggers off of the life losses. I think it's just the initial, but that makes it better than the than Abysses. So when we get up to a reaction, there's only one real option here. You could do like the Highland thing, but she has 3 movement and no jump. Like, this is going to be hard to actually make it happen. And her range isn't like brokenly far. It's just like reasonably far. Protection of Darkness. And I know what I said with Abyss. Like, you don't care about debuffing the enemy. I still think it's just better, because like healing received down, this counts, right? That's a debuff. That's a debuff. That's a gluten. If you have a few other debuffs that are like life loss is a debuff, healing received is a debuff. So just by having life loss and that on them, they're automatically triggering 2 of those. So you don't need to be triggering the debuffs that lower stats, defensive stats, in order for this to work. Like maybe you're lowering attack and then you're using life loss and stuff. And now suddenly, if you actually do get hit, 30% less damage. Pretty darn good. Protection of Darkness is a great ability. Rank 7, things get real spicy again. I really did like having Light of Sanctuary, but I'm just not using it anymore. Single target healing restores 25% of the target's HP, and if they're unharmed, you can increase their damage by 2, magic defense by 2. Now, she could self-target this and then increase her magic defense and her damage by 20%. That's very good, but I ended up just wanting more attacks, because her attacks are also fucking good, that I was like, this felt like it was almost a waste. Although I think this could be really good, because I believe if let's say you're missing some HP, I feel like if you use your trait triggers to heal you, and then it'll automatically do the damage and magic defense up, so it's easier to trigger this stuff than it is for the heal. But it's not an insanely good ability, but it's a good ability. But Dark Ripple, ooh, this ability is so good. A massive AoE, I mean, you know, not massive, but it's within 2 tiles of a target. You inflict 70% AoE damage, and you lock passive skills and reaction skills for 2 turns. There's no condition. So unless they have an advanced form of immunity, like from a boss, this will turn off passives and turn off reactions. This is like the anti-Alexi fucking thing, bro. I don't know if I think Alexi could still revive, but the damage and stuff and the reaction skill not being able to counterattack, that's fucking huge. This is so good against so many characters. And it's 70% AoE damage and then 30% piercing damage and a big AoE as well. Dark Ripple is one of the craziest abilities. Rank 9, 2 attacks. You could either get the Dispel 2 buffs on a target, that's fine, but you can get a 60% piercing attack, which does, of course, trigger your passive. So you're doing 90% piercing, which is just an absolutely insane amount of damage overall. So one thing you're going to notice here about her kit is there's a ton of damage here, a ton of AoE, one of the best damage dealers AoE in the game. Also great at just ignoring defenses, right? Does a ton of piercing damage, but there's nothing here that helps her energy cost, right? If you take a look here, Dark Ripple costs 3. Life Loss only costs 1, but has a 5-turn cooldown. But if you look at her other really good ability here, Whip of Blame, this also costs 3. So she's not consistently using these abilities. However, this is where our spice comes in. The weapons, whatever, I'm not too concerned about it. I'm just using the strong shit that I got. Same with armor. I don't have. I'm sure there's some a specific legendary weapon that's Bis, and there's a specific armor that's Bis, but I don't have those, so I'm not super concerned about that yet, where my account's at. But these tarots, bro, the tarots here, the Course of Fortune, the Wheel of Fortune, are they all called the Course of Fortune? I guess they are. At the start of the turn, gains 1 random buff of the Wheel of Fortune. This is exactly what you want on Lash. Why? Because all the buffs are fucking good, but I think 2 of them are ridiculously good on her. So kind of 3 of them, but 2 of them really. So let me think what the buffs are. There's increased damage dealt by 10%. There is decrease damage dealt taken by 10% and recover in energy. I believe that's the one. There is do nothing, which sucks. There is a AoE heal, and there is an AoE damage. So why is this so good? Well, did you know that the AoE damage triggers your own passive? That this counts as attacking, that you are going to deal the AoE hit, which I believe does 10% piercing, but then you're going to do another 30% piercing after that. Absolutely fucking sick. Let's go take a look at it. I have a video here of this one. I probably should have tested the life loss thing. I didn't even notice. It might even be in this video or the other one that I did. So this is just going to be last. Don't make me watch this, bro. Okay, here we go. So this is just the last show off. And honestly, I have to wait. It's like not till like one of the final turns or actually get it. So you have to roll it. So if you take a look here at the Wheel of Fortunes, she's going to just look really good because it's a low level stuff. But I want to show this specific interaction, right? So here's a buff. At the end of the turn, heal all allies within a 3-tile radius by 10% of your magic attack plus your attack. Now, from what I can tell, this does not seem to trigger, unless it stacks, it doesn't seem to actually trigger with her passive, unfortunately, because she's not using a healing or support skill, I guess. Maybe it counts as a reaction or something, or maybe it counts as an attack. I don't know. But it doesn't seem to trigger her healing passive. But the damage one does work, and I'll even show it to you. And we're going to show it. I could speed up, but we will. All right, so watch her attack here. If you notice, she did... All right, I got to slow down. She did a 1,000 hit and then a hit for 400, which was her passive triggering as well. So I actually want to show you that on a different attack first. So probably this one. Also, worth noting with the Wheel of Fortune. So watch here. First, 800 and then 297. The 297, I think, was just because they were already pretty much dead. But if we take a look here, all of these buffs last 2 turns. So we re-triggered this one, but you see we get damage taken reduced by 10%. So this isn't the one that gives you energy. There is one that gives you energy, but it also has a secondary effect. I must have got it mixed up with something else. But you can see these all last 2 turns. So you're getting these buffs stacking. So once you roll the damage, you're guaranteed to get at least 2 turns of it, which is, I think it's a 1 in 5 chance. So not crazy consistent, but also even just going around and healing yourself for free it's a great trait. But when the payoffs are this good, it's just even better. So let's take a look. I bet, do you use life loss here? Probably not. She doesn't need to worry about dying here because this is like a low level stuff. Let's take a look. What'd you get? So you can see here, right? You did the AoE, you did an extra hit. But let's take a look what she got here. There we go. Buff. Deal piercing damage equal to 10% of the character's magic attack plus physical attack to all enemies within a 3-tile radius. And then, after attacking, deal 20% magic attack as piercing damage to the target. So it's actually, so we're going to see here, you're going to do an AoE burst, boom, 316, and then 403 triggers on all of them. Now, is that the most insane damage ever? No, but that is just another thing. That means after you attack with like your 90% piercing, 50% AoE or 70% AoE damage, whatever ability you're using, you're also going to hit for another 10% piercing and then another 20-30% piercing while also healing yourself. And there is an energy one. Let's take a look. She has energy problems, and so whenever you roll the energy one, it makes her entire kit much easier even without support. So Wheel of Fortune basically turns her into a completely self-sustained powerhouse that also just has a fuck ton more damage because it's just like, it's such a good combo with her as a character. So if you have Lash, you should be using the Course of Fortune, the Wheel of Fortune, Tarot Whisper, whatever they call it. Probably just increase your magic attack as much as you can because she's primarily a damage dealer. But honestly, because the way Wheel of Fortune works, you could increase your physical attack and it would work there too, but there's not really a reason for that. Like everything else is based off magic attack. And then, yeah, don't worry about debuffing the enemy's defenses because Lash has got you covered. One of my favorite characters in the game, absolutely worth building. You should be using her. 10 out of 10 character, one of my favorites. Anyway, that's all for today, guys. Thank you very much. The Purplatypus is Purplatypus. I'll see you on the flip-flops. Bye! Platypus on the rise, watch the view.